Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a little-known piece of trading card history from the 1980s, Fleer's Grossville High. If you grew up in the 80s or you're just a fan of that era's bizarre pop culture, you'll love this trip down memory lane. Let's see how Fleer tried to capture the magic of gross-out humor and where it all went wrong. In the mid-1980s, Fleer, the company best known for its baseball cards and bubblegum, decided to venture into the weird and wonderful world of gross-out humor. At the time, Garbage Pail Kids were all the rage, with their grotesque characters and satirical take on the Cabbage Patch craze. Fleer wanted a piece of that pie, and thus Grossville High was born in 1986. The premise was simple: a high school filled with some of the most disgusting, obnoxious, and flat-out ridiculous students, teachers, and staff members you could imagine. The cards were packed with over-the-top gross humor, perfectly fitting for the time. The Grossville High set featured 66 different cards, all illustrated with bright, cartoonish artwork. Some memorable characters included Brad Breath, a half-man, half-monster with some seriously hot breath, Peter Picker, whose constant nose-picking has gotten way out of hand, and B.O. Joe. Well, I think you can guess what he was about. Each card came with a character profile, giving collectors a quick laugh with witty, albeit disgusting, descriptions of their personalities and behaviors. For instance, Brad's tagline was something like, "You take my breath away." Cheesy, right? Now, while Grossville High was clearly aiming for the same market as Garbage Pail Kids, there were a few differences. First off, while Garbage Pail Kids were known for their subversive and often dark humor, Grossville High had a lighter, more school-themed approach. It was almost like the cards were parodying the high school experience itself, only everyone in school had terrible hygiene or suffered from some kind of exaggerated bodily function. But while the characters were fun and memorable, Grossville High never quite achieved the same level of success as its competitors. Part of the issue was the sheer amount of similar products flooding the market at the time. From wacky packages to mad balls, the gross-out humor trend was already feeling a bit oversaturated by the time Grossville High showed up. So what happened? Why didn't Grossville High catch on like Garbage Pail Kids? Well, it might have been a case of too little, too late. By 1986, kids were already moving on to the next big thing, and Grossville High didn't bring anything groundbreaking to the table. It was fun and colorful, but it wasn't enough to stand out. That said, Grossville High cards still hold a certain charm for collectors today. If you were around during the 80s, these cards might take you back to a time when trading cards were everywhere, and the more outrageous the humor, the better. Grossville High may not have been as successful as Garbage Pail Kids, but it's still a quirky piece of trading card history. So there you have it, a brief look at Fleer's Grossville High. It might not have made a huge splash back in the day, but it's definitely earned its place in the nostalgic Hall of Fame for 80s kids and collectors alike. If you ever come across a pack of these cards at a flea market or an old comic shop, pick them up. You might just find yourself transported back to a time when gross humor ruled the schoolyard. And sometimes you were sent home with a note for disturbing the class.